All right. 351 your songbooks. We're going to sing Our God, He is Alive. Okay? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I sure do.
Yeah, right.
All right.
There is beyond the azure blue a God concealed from human sight. He takes the skies with heavenly hue and framed the world with His great might. There is a God, He is alive, and we live and we survive. We should know who speaks from His inspired word. There is a God, He is alive, and we live and we survive. And we survive from the start God. From the start God. The great I am. Secure His life from mortal mind. God holds a germ within His hand. Though men may search, they cannot find. For God alone does understand. There is a God. He is alive. We live and we survive. From the start God created man. He is our God. The great I am. Our God who sat upon a tree, our life was willing there to give, that He might save, might set men free, and evermore with Him could live. There is a God, He is alive, and we live and we survive. And we survive from the start God. From the start God created man.
Predicalo. Preach it, Brody.
I'm out of breath when I sing that song.
I feel you, bro.
Kind of like,
Got you, bro.
yeah.
I understand.
Hey, good morning, family.
Good morning.
Hopefully you guys are enjoying the sunlight.
Yes.
You guys let me know if you guys are distracted, we can shut it down.
No. It's great, bro.
The blinds.
Oh, the lights.
Yeah. No. Although Joshua made the sun stand still, so we can make the sun stand still too as well.
Do it.
Yeah. Oh, guys, hopefully you're excited. Welcome to Hostos Community College.
Yeah.
We are going to sanctify Hostos.
As we come in and bring God's word, we're celebrating with them their 50th year. As you see in Hostos, 2018. So what a great year for Hostos to host us, to bring in 50 right?
Host us.
He was ready for the sometimes.
But,
it works. Yeah, it works. Amen. Well, guys, today we're going to talk about a very important topic.
Come on.
And that is brokenness. And
Come on.
being broken before God. And brokenness, the purpose of brokenness is pretty much to start the process of you and me being sanctified.
Amen.
To be holy before God. Also, it is to break you. To break your heart.
I know that's
Yeah.
I got that one.
Has anyone here been heartbroken?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the kind of feeling that I hope that you guys get out of this sermon, but in a godly way.
Come on, bro.
Okay? Where you're hurting for whatever it is that you're struggling, but you're leaving it up to God. And being heartbroken is also a sign of being broken before God about your sin. I believe that if we are not broken about our sin, God can use us. He can't, with a T.
Right.
He can't use us.
Come on, bro.
The best analogy I can come up with this is basically when you tame or break a horse. Right? Basically, getting a horse broken is basically to tame it. And, a horse is a great creature.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful, strong, beautiful hair. Beautiful hair. And it's wild. It's very fast. Gorgeous, like I said again. But I do believe that with a horse, it will never reach its full potential of life if it's not being used for its purpose. Horses are usually used for transportation.
Yeah.
Either you ride them or you transport goods. A lot of the railroads that we have today, they were built on horses.
Yeah.
Those horses were pulling down all the woods, the iron, the dynamite. Even there was at one point they were pulling the actual train on the tracks with horses. Yeah. So horses are really strong, very powerful. But I do believe, if they're not being used for transportation to build, they're being wasted away. Now, we know that a horse is not also just to be wild and free, it's also, its purpose is to serve.
Yeah.
Right? And an unbroken horse, or a horse who's not broken or is not tamed, is not useful.
Yeah.
It is the same for us. If we can't fulfill our lives, our life purpose as Christians, that means we're not broken. Now, being broken means that God can use you instead of going around you. So if God is going around you, because you're not broken, you're not fulfilling your purpose. You're not being useful. It's wasted potential. Now, for a horse, also, there's two ways of breaking the horse. You can break him until he hates you and he fears you. You can literally beat him to show him who's boss. That's one way of breaking him. That's not the one I'm recommending. There's another way where you show him who's boss, but you also let him know that, hey, I'm going to use you to go do all this work, but also I'm going to feed you. I'm going to give you water when you're thirsty. I'm going to take care of you when you're sick. I'm going to love you. I'm going to give you a bath whenever you need a bath. So see, a lot of people see God as a tyrant. Oh, he's going to break me. He's going to use me. What kind of God is that? But God is also the one who's going to take care of you. He's going to feed you. He's going to protect you. He's going to take you to water. He's going to protect you from all this stuff. So it's not just breaking someone through fear. You got to use love as well. Okay? So point number one, you don't get it, do you? Open your Bibles to Luke 7, chapter 7, verse 36. Now before you even being broken, before you begin the process of being broken, you got to see your sin. If you don't see your sin, how can you get broken? And a lot of times we are oblivious to our sins.
Yes, that is very true.
Luke 7, verse 36. And if you're hearing this message for the second time, amen. We all needed to hear it twice, I guess. Verse 36 says, Now one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him. So he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. When the woman who had lived a sinful life in the town learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster jar of perfume. And as she stood behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. When the Pharisee who had invited Jesus saw this, he said to him, If this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. Jesus answered him, Simon, I have something to tell you. Tell me, teacher. He said, 2 men owed money to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii and the other 50. Neither of them had the money to pay him back. So he canceled the debt of both. Now, which of them will love him more? Simon replied, I suppose the one that had the bigger debt canceled. You have judged correctly. Jesus said. Then he turned towards the woman and said to Simon, Do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loves much. But he who has been forgiven little loves little. Let's stop right there. You know, it's an incredible story here about that is going to help us understand what is being to be broken before God. Now let's look at the woman first. Well, we know that this woman is a sinful woman. Well, a lot of scholars believe that she was a prostitute. There's not real for sure a certainty of that, but what we know is that she was a sinner. Some people say that she was an adulterous woman, right? Now we see another element here that this woman, she was very brave. She was risking her life to see Jesus. Why? Because in that time, you know, you're coming to somebody's house and you're not being invited, and you're a woman with a bunch of men. Like, that will cause you to be stoned. Right? And she gets to Jesus, and she's weeping and kissing his feet. And she wipes him. She wipes Jesus' feet with her hair. Now, I want you to picture something. Imagine you're doing that to Jesus. You know, if you think about Cassell doing that, I don't know if he'll be much of a wipe, but he'll probably be scraping.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have long hair. Yeah. You know, maybe some of the sisters with long hair probably can see how they can do that. Us guys, I don't think we can do that, right?
Oh, no.
Now, on top of that, this woman is being exposed because she's letting her hair down in front of men. Back in the days, the culture, the only man could see your hair was your husband.
Yeah, that's true.
So she's literally exposing herself to humiliation, to being judged from this man. And she pours the perfume on Jesus' feet. Now, the reason why they believe that she poured the perfume at his feet is because the custom back then was that you lean towards the table on your left shoulder. The table, let's say the table was this area right here. You're leaning towards it, and your feet were sticking out because they're unclean. Right? So the reason why they believe that she came and put the perfume on his feet, not on his head, was because his feet were stand up, like will be laying across from her. Right? She couldn't reach his head. That's what some of the beliefs that they have. And but she's broken. Right? Now let's look at the Pharisee. The Pharisee, he's inviting Jesus to his house. He's hosting Jesus. He's a spiritual leader of the time. He's smart, probably. You know, he knows his Old Testament. But at one point, he goes from hosting Jesus to being hostile towards Jesus. He gets critical. He acts very arrogant. And he gets self-righteous. if this prophet knew what kind of woman is touching him, that kind of thing. Now, the assumption back then, if you were a prophet, that they would assume that you can see people's heart. So this guy thought, this guy's no prophet. He can say nobody's heart. And then Jesus immediately says, hey, I do see your heart. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm a prophet. Here it is. I'm watching your heart. Don't worry about her. I'm all over you. And we see her because he literally is hosting someone and he's being very rude. He's not giving water for Jesus' feet. Back then, was the custom for if you buy someone, you had to give them water so they could wipe their feet because they would walk everywhere. There was manure all over their feet, dirt, all the stuff. And that was the custom. Give them some water so they could wash up. You greet someone with a kiss, and then you pour oil on their head. That was just the regular customs to walk on someone's house.
Wow.
Those of you guys coming over to my house today, if you guys want, we can get you guys some oil. Okay? We can offer you some water. Something. And he goes from hosting Jesus to being hostile towards him. Now, the question is, who's the bigger sinner? The Pharisee or the woman? Well, the answer is neither. They're both the same in God's eyes. They're both sinners. Right? The difference is that the woman sees her sin, she gets it, she understands it, and the Pharisee doesn't. He doesn't understand his sin. Now, how about you? How about me? Do we get it? Do we see our sin before us?
No.
If we don't, that means we love him little. Because we think we haven't forgiven very little.
Yeah.
This woman understood, you know what? My life was a mess. Me kissing Jesus' feet is nothing. I will do anything that he wants me to do. And this is why she understood the magnitude of her sin. So she understood, wow, I deserve help. He just forgave my sin. And to the Pharisee, yeah, I'm a self-righteous guy. He probably thought, yeah, compared to her, I have very little sin. So the question is, are you a Pharisee? Or are you the sinful woman today?
Preach.
And I want you to ask yourself, what is the sin that is so easily entangled you today that you maybe battle your sin in 2017 that you probably brought over to 2018? Because if you brought it over to 2018, that means you haven't been broken about your sin. You've just been dragging it along. Hey, come with me. I can't. I feel like I can't get rid of you right now. Just come with me. Follow along. And think about the sin. And ask yourself, are you acting like the Pharisee towards this sin? Are you at Jesus' feet or are you hostile towards him? And if you're not, today is a day so you can get open about it. And let's become the broken woman, spiritually speaking. Let's go to Jesus' feet and weep. Because we know that we have been forgiven a lot. Just like Drew was sharing today. Here in the story that Drew was talking about today, how he went from hopeless to whole. From nothing will fill him up to being filled with God. That's the kind of brokenness that we're talking about today. And maybe you don't know. Maybe you be acting like a Pharisee and you just don't know. So what do we do? Well, let's ask someone who's spiritually focused and, hey, what do you think? Am I the simple woman about my sin or am I the Pharisee? And let them help you in your heart. Let them teach you the scriptures. Let them just get in your life so you can get broken about your sin before it's too late. Point number 2. I don't care.
Wow.
To that, we're going to go to 2 Samuel chapter 11.
Call it out, bro.
There is a difference between not understanding your sin to a I don't care kind of thing.
Preach.
And we're going to see that with David in chapter 11, 2 Samuel. You guys know the story that he's just being idle. He was supposed to go to war. He didn't go to war. And he's just run into this beautiful, gorgeous woman, and he just decides to have her. Obviously, they go and commit adultery. And she gets pregnant. And David is trying to cover up his sin, and we're going to pick it up in verse 6. So David went with his word to Joab. So David sent his word to Joab. Send me Uriah, the Hittite, and Joab sent him to David. When Uriah came to him, David asked him how the soldiers were, and how the war was going. Then David said to Uriah, go home, down to your house and wash your feet. So Uriah left the palace, and a gift from the king was sent after him. But Uriah slept at the entrance to the place with all his master servants, and did not go down to his house. When David was told that Uriah did not go home, he asked him, haven't you just come from distance? Why didn't you go home? Uriah said to David, the ark in Israel and Judah are staying in tents, and my master's Joab and my lord's men are camping on the open fields. How can I go to my house to eat and drink and lie with my wife? As sure as the Lord lives, as you live, I will not do such thing. Wow. Then David said to him, stay here one more day, and tomorrow I will send you back. So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the next day. At David's invitation, he ate and drank with him, and David made him drunk. But in the evening, Uriah went out to sleep on his mat among his master's servants. He did not go home. In the morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it with Uriah. In it, he wrote, put Uriah in the front lines where the fighting is fierce. Then withdraw from him so that he would be struck down and die. Wow. So while Joab had the city under siege, he pulled Uriah at the place where he knew that the strongest defenders were. When the men of the city came out and fought against Joab, some of the men in David's army fell. Moreover, Uriah the Hittite died. All right, let's stop right here. See, right here you have David. This is God's man who is going after God's own heart. Just messing it up.
Yep. Yeah.
And obviously we know that he went from like just being idle to one sin to another one. And he ended up killing an innocent man. And he wants to be like Pilate. Let me just wash my hands. I screwed up. Hey, Uriah, go home. Go lay with your wife. Why? He wanted to cover up for his mistake. He wanted somebody else to take care of his own mistake.
Yeah.
He was being a coward. He didn't face the consequences. Why? He was a king. He can do whatever he wanted. And we all been there at some point where, we are, instead of having a heart of flesh, we have a heart of stone. And we don't care. We get arrogant and prideful. And we want to cover our sin. For David, one sin led him to kill an innocent man. The point is, here, I don't care. But David did care. But he cared only about himself. He cared about covering his son's image, his own reputation. He didn't care about God. He didn't care about Uriah's family. He didn't wonder, hey, man, Uriah's father, he's one of my mighty warriors. He's sacrificing his family to go and rescue me many times. Yeah. Uriah just watched my back all the time. You would thought he would be broken about how Uriah's loyalty, that he's not even willing to go and sleep with his wife. He wants to stay to protect the king. You would thought he would be broken about it, but he's just hard-hearted. He doesn't care. He didn't care that he messed up a marriage. He really broke apart a marriage because he was selfish. And one of the reasons why I do believe that David wasn't broken about his sin is because he only cared about himself. He was selfish and he became self-focused. For me, there's this moment when I have become self-focused. I don't know if I shared this before about this. When I got baptized, I had a friend who wanted to study the Bible. I brought her to church. I went to pick her up, brought her to church. She started studying the Bible. And, the leaders in my ministry upfront told me right away, back away. She's studying the Bible because she wants to date you. That's what they told me. That's not what I heard. I heard you just don't want me to be around her. Right? And I said, well, I'm just helping her. She's my friend. I just want to follow up as her quiet times, this and that. Over my head. Like, I didn't get it. And then finally, Jay said, well, sit down with me. He said, you know, you're playing with this girl's salvation. You don't get it, do you? But you just don't want to care. And it's like, of course I care about her. This is why I'm hanging around her. And he told me, back away. You gotta let her seek God because she wants God, not because she wants you. And then I didn't listen. One day, we're together, and then nothing more happened or anything, but it was an emotional bonding right there. And she finally asked me, hey, when are you gonna ask me to be your girlfriend? And that's where, like, uh-oh. I stay silent, the awkward silent, where, like, you know what to say. You kept driving. Oh, look at that train.
Awkward.
The awkward moment. And I say, you know what? I try to explain with the most careful words, saying that I'm not interested in like that. You have to be a disciple for. You gotta focus on this. I was being spiritual at the moment, and all she heard is like, you don't want me. Like I could just say the most amazing spiritual sermon, and all she heard is like, you don't want me. It's not when somebody challenges us, they come and explain our sin, and you're like, I'm not hearing all that, I'm just hearing this.
Right. Yeah.
And after that, she just went downhill. She stopped studying the Bible. She started dating another guy.
Wow.
And yeah, they didn't want to tell me I told you so, but they had to be a correction there.
Yeah.
You didn't listen. Now you have blood in your hands.
Wow.
And I'm like, blood, what do you mean? So see, I still didn't get it. And Jason, because of you, even though she is responsible for her own decisions, you were part of that decision.
Yeah.
So that means that you're going to have this in your hands.
Yeah. Right.
Because you didn't want to listen. And then after that, I was like, never again.
Yeah.
If they told me, they give me a direction, I may question it, but I'm going to get behind this direction no matter what. Because I don't want to have blood on my hands.
Right.
It's like being a murderer. Yeah. And you're holding the weapon they used to kill this person.
Wow. Yeah. Right.
And maybe you're playing with fire. With someone in the world. Or even in the kingdom.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful. You know the reason why they fought and burned.
Come on, Victor.
I got arrogant and prideful. Because I care about me. And I didn't care about her. If I really care about her, I would just God stepping away. You know what? You do you. If God wants something to happen here, it'll happen.
Right.
But just like David, I only care about what I thought it was right.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess today, if you're struggling with being broken about a certain sin, I believe that you struggle with selfishness. You're self-focused. You only care about what you think is best for you. Maybe you're not listening. It's not registered in your head. You're only listening what you want to listen. But, as Galatians 6 says, verse 7, do not be misled. God will not be mocked.
Yeah.
And as much as you want to hide your sin, God always reveals it.
Right.
I was thinking about this when we had the snowstorm, and how everything looks purified. Like white.
Yeah.
Right? Not right now, but picture it like back in the blizzard. And you know how the trucks blow through the snow, and they just push the snow to the side, right?
Yeah.
And it still looks a little dirty. But there's most of it white covering the streets. But what happens when all the snow melts? All the nastiness, there's rats there where they got squished in there. All this garbage, all this just come out. God always reveals stuff. God always brings sin to the light.
Yeah.
He will not be mocked. He takes care of it. We're going to see that with David. Point number 3, I get it now. And we're going to go to chapter 12 here, verse 1. I get it now. And hopefully we are at this stage where we walk with God. So, Victor. Verse 1. The Lord sent Nathan to David. He comes to the discipler. When he came to him, he said, there was 2 men in a certain town, one rich and one another poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cattle, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb that he bought. He raised it and it grew up with him and his children. He shared his food, drank from his cup, and even slept in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. Now trouble came to the rich man. But the rich man refrained from taking one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the traveler who had come to him. Instead, he took the ewe lamb that belonged to the poor man and prepared it for the one who had come to him. David burned with anger against the man and said to Nathan, "As surely as the Lord lives, the man who did this deserves to die. He must pay for the lamb 4 times over because he did such a thing and had no pity." Then Nathan said to David, here comes guys, "You are the man. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel says. I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hands of Saul. I gave your master's house to you, and your master's wives into your arms. I gave you the house of Israel and Judah. And if all this had been too little, I would have given you even more. Why did you despise the word of the Lord by doing what is evil in his eyes? You struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and took his wife to be your own. You killed him with the sword of the Ammonites. Now the sword will never depart from your house, because you despised me and took the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your own. This is what the Lord says. Out of your own household I am going to bring calamity upon you. Before your very eyes I will take your wives and give them to one who is close to you, and he will lie with your wives in broad daylight. You did it in secret, but I will do this thing in broad daylight before all Israel." Then David got it. Then David said to Nathan, "I have sinned against the Lord." Nathan replied, "The Lord has taken away your sin, but you're not going to die." Amen to that. "But because by doing this, you have made the enemies of the Lord show utter contempt. The son born to you will die." After Nathan had gone home, the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife had born to David, and he became ill. David pleaded with the Lord for the child. He fasted and went into his house and spent the night lying on the ground. The elders of his household stood beside him to get him off from the ground, but he refused, and he would not eat any food with them. On the 7th day, the child died. David's servants were afraid to tell him that the child was dead, but they thought, "Well, the child was still alive. We spoke to David, but he would not listen to us. How can we tell him the child is dead? He may do something desperate." Okay, let's stop right here. I get it now. You know, well, God will not be mocked, right? He always brings our sins to the light,